आदि पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यम्। Okay, Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our study and discussion of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the last 6 chapters. We started yesterday with the chapter number 14, the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, where now Lord Sri Krishna is going to explain more in detail about how the 3 modes of material nature, they actually bind or they condition or they limit the jiva, and then what is the effect of conditioning.
खोलती हूँ
That also will be explained. And then obviously the solution part, how one can transcend the 3 modes and become gunatita, that will be also answered upon inquiry by Arjuna. So yesterday we completed some 10 verses where we saw about the the glorification of this knowledge by Lord Sri Krishna in the first 2 verses. And then we also discussed how the Paramatma or the Super Soul is the cause of the Prakriti and Purusha, both of them who are the Anadi for their combination, how they come in contact with each other and the entanglement starts. So that is because of the um, arrangement of the Lord or Supreme Lord. So that we also saw. And in the fifth verse onwards, Lord Sri Krishna started talking about the 3 modes, their characteristics, etc. So anybody would like to revise any points? Anybody remembers anything? Yes, Kishore Madhav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Tanda Prabhuji. See, from the first shloka, we emphasize that Krishna mentions that I will again speak to you. So we refer to some old shloka like 3.27, that why he is emphasizing on speaking that again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom. That is what we said. Pravakshami, we said that Krishna said that I will speak, and we also discussed about philosophical speculation versus mental speculation. Like philosophical speculation is guidance by Guru, and mental speculation your own thoughts about it. So this was with reference to first shloka.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So philosophical speculation and mental speculation. Okay. Anybody else? Any other points? What are the characteristics? Okay. Arun Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, like after 14.1, Krishna continues the glorification of this knowledge, that is the knowledge of 3 modes. That he said, "Man sadharmyam agata," that one who will try to understand this knowledge will become qualitatively one with the Lord. And we discuss it does not mean as impersonalists think that a person will not merge into the existence of Lord, but he will retain his individuality. And then Krishna says, giving in the 14.3, that Krishna says how everything is brought into existence. And Mam Yoni Mahat Brahma, we discussed that he is the sum total of all material substance. And sometimes Prabhupada give example, Tandula Vrishik Nai, that sometimes people think that if scorpion is coming out of rice pile, then they think that it has been produced by rice, but it doesn't happen. So similarly, sometimes it appears that the material nature is providing or producing, but it is not so. Without the seed giving father or without Krishna, nothing is possible. And then, therefore, Krishna in 14.4 he says that I am the seed giving father in continuation of that verse. And then from 14.5, the actual discussion of the three modes starts. That in 14.5,
Okay,
Sattva,
okay.
Rajas, Tamas.
Leave something for other devotees to also say. Okay, fine. Thank you. So yes, Prasanna Gopal Prabhu.
So in 14.5, the introduction to the three modes of material, which is given goodness, passion, and ignorance, and how the living entity comes in contact with the three modes, and he gets conditioned by these three modes. It is mentioned, and then 6, 7, and 8, respectively, goodness, passion, and ignorance is the how the conditioned soul gets impacted by the goodness, passion, and ignorance is mentioned respectively. So in the 6th verse, let's say goodness is how the goodness, although it looks like very peaceful, but it is conditioned because it gives the sense of happiness and the knowledge. And because of that, it gives the conditioned soul becomes bound. The example also given poet and the philosophers, the scientists and philosophers example is given in the purport, who who are in the goodness, but still it becomes a binding for them. In the 7th text, the passion, how the living entity becomes passion, the bound by the passion is given because they are interested in the future actions, the results of their actions. So because of they gets bound in the because of the mode of passion. And you mentioned, then we discuss current examples of the passion, what are the examples of the passion, the money mindedness and all. So that is there. And then 8th is the mode of ignorance, is madness, is the living entity becomes madden, and the madness, indolence, and sleep are the characteristics of a mode of ignorance, and because of that jiva becomes bound.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes. So can somebody quickly say what are the characteristics of the mode of goodness or sattva? How can we know there is a sattva? The mode of goodness. How it characterized? What are the characteristics of the sattva? Yes, Bhakti Lila Madhu.
Jnanam and Sukham.
Okay, Jnanam and
Yes, sir.
Sukham. Okay, so what happens by Jnanam and Sukham? I mean, they are the characteristics of goodness. So wherever there is a knowledge and there is a sense of happiness, that is
It
the
will
mode
bind by the sense of happiness and knowledge. And that person thinks that I am feel happy, and he doesn't know what is good or what is bad. Here, you also gave the example of that Brahmana and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's stories, that three
Okay.
things.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Correct. So that's how it gets bind. He may be proud of his knowledge and he may feel, I'm happy now. So there is no need to go any further. And the Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam. These are the three characteristics. Nirmalatvat means actually it is the purest in the material world, the mode of goodness. And Prakashakam means it is illuminating. Anybody is in the mode of goodness is having knowledge, sense of happiness. So it's illuminating. So he is aware of what is what. And Anamayam is actually it is free from all the bad habits or free from the sinful reactions, like that. Similarly, and can anybody else say what are the characteristics of the mode of passion? With or without the Sanskrit words? Yes, Kishore Madhav Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, having desires, hankering.
Okay. Rajo Ragatmakam. Yes. So what happens because of that? A person in the mode of passion is having a lot of desires to be fulfilled. So in order to fulfill them, what does he do? What does he do?
he then becomes engulfed into all materialistic activity like earning money, and he gets entangled into the cycle.
Yes. So in order to fulfill those desires, he is also ready to work very, very hard. He's a hardworking person, right? And that's how they ask whether do you have a passion in you to take this task or complete this task or take this project, etc., etc. So hardworking, right? That is the characteristics. Trishna, a lot of desires, and therefore he wants to fulfill those desires. So he's working very, very hard. Correct. Okay. And is bound by the karma, dehina means is bound by these fruits of the action. Not that he's just working hard, he's working hard, and if he gets fruits of his work, he's very elated. And if he doesn't get, he can be very, very depressed also, like that. Okay. Any example you can quote for the goodness, passion, and ignorance in terms of day to day, the time, the place, activities? Before that, we'll just complete the ignorance also, I think so. Yes, the next verse talks about the ignorance. So what are the characteristics of ignorance? Mode of ignorance? Tama. How it is being characterized, or how we can know, oh, this is tamoguna now. Yes, same devotees, no other devotees. Okay, yes, Dipali Mataji.
Yes. The results of mode of ignorance are madness, indolence, and sleep.
Pramada alasya nidra. The person in the mode of ignorance, he will be actually pramad, he will be mad. Alasya means procrastination, lazy. And nidra means oversleeping, like that. And tamastva ajnanajam. Ajnanajam means born of ignorance. Ajnana. Mohanam sarvadehinam. And actually illusion. What is good, he will consider as bad. What is bad, he will consider as good. Right? Like that. What is dukha, he will consider as sukha. What is sukha, he will consider as dukha. Like that. So that's actually moha, illusion. He will be under always illusion. So any examples of animals in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, the places in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, the time of the day in the goodness, passion, ignorance, the activities in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. Anything like this? Yes, Aruna Mataji. Any one thing you can tell us?
All right. Prabhuji, like if you talk about time, so the morning time up to 12 p.m. is considered in the mode of goodness. Then after 12 o'clock, passion time starts. And the night is in the mode of darkness.
Okay, I mean, there is no 11:59 or 12 o'clock like that is there. But yes, you can say in the morning time, like generally we say Brahma Murta, na? Any spiritual activities, they yield good results if you are done in the early morning, Brahma Murta time, 1.5 hours before the sunrise. Yes. So morning time is okay. Then we start going to the office in a mode of passion, working, traffic, beating the traffic, etc. All those things. Then the work, meetings, clients, expectations, fulfilling, working hard. So that's how the whole day goes into the passion, working hard. And during the night, then the sleep and all those things, they come into the picture. So therefore, ignorance takes over, like that. Okay. So that's about the time. Mukunda Path Prabhuji, you would like to mention anything in the mode of goodness? In the three moods, any example of
Okay,
each?
Broji. Actually, I supposed to speak something yesterday. Also, you spoke about what is realizations. For that, I think I raised the hand. Okay, I
Okay,
will
you
tell
can
about the
mention.
places. Okay, places. Let's say like our house or temple considered as a mode of goodness, and like gym and other places where there is like casino and other clubs are there, that can be considered as a mode of passion or ignorance. And in pubs and different kinds of bars can be considered as a places where they are in mode of ignorance.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that brothels, liquor houses, they're the mode of ignorance. And temples, you said that, but actually, I don't know if you're referring to ISKCON temple or some other temples, but ISKCON temple, Prabhupada said, they are the embassy of the spiritual world. They are not actually goodness, they are in pure goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe gardens or places of picnics like, waterfalls, forest, they are the places in the mode of goodness. And passion, yes, you mentioned them. And also sports stadiums, have you seen? Everything is being pumping, competition
Yes,
between
yes.
the fans. Sometimes they clash with each other, etc., etc. It's about the passion. Okay, fine. Anybody else? Quickly, Dipali Mataji, you want to give some example?
Yes, Prabhu, I want to give example of animal. So
Okay.
cow is in the mood of goodness, tiger in the mode, lion in the mode of passion, and the wolf in the mode of ignorance.
Who was in ignorance?
Wolf.
Wolf. Okay, okay. You can easily give the example of donkeys and the camels. You know, they are, I mean, mentioned in the Bhagavatam also. So the camels, they are eating the thorny bushes, and because of which their tongue gets cut, and they're actually tasting their own blood, and they think that's very nice. Actually, it's very tasty. So that's actually not about the camel. That's about the hardworking people. The Bhagavatam gives a very, very graphic example. Anyway, so hogs, etc., like that. So those are the animals. And if somebody wants to talk about the food, anyway, we are going to discuss that in 17th chapter, 17.8, 9, 10. We'll talk about food in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we'll talk more about that during our discussion on the 17th chapter. So let's go ahead now about the verse we discussed. Yes, Mukund Padhur, you want to mention about the realization? What is your realization about the realization? Tell us.
Okay, Prabhuji, so yesterday's that I think from Srimad Bhagavatam, you were referring that particular section where it has been mentioned that something which is coming out of vanity or just you are surpassing all the teachings of previous acharyas and you are telling something which may not be the covering the teachings of previous acharya, that will not be called as a personal realization. But wherever you are aligned with the things which has been presenting in such a manner, they are maintaining the context of that particular statements, as well as it is also aligning with the teachings of previous acharyas, that stands for realization. So I was just supposed to tell that point, which I
Okay,
like.
but in what context did we discuss this realization? What is the context? Why we discuss this?
I think that was
Anybody else can say. Any other student, I mean, any other devotees can also state. Why did we discuss that realization point? That was in contest with the philosophical speculation and mental speculation.
mental speculation.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. So let's go ahead now. Today's verse. Now, as we said, there are 3 sections for the chapter number 14. The first 9 verses, they talk about the conditioning by the 3 modes. And the next 9 verses, where we are now currently on the text 11, they will talk about the effect. First, they will talk about the prominence, how there is always a competition between the 3 modes, and how sometimes one becomes prominent and other 2 go in the back, to the backside. And that's how we have been discussing. And the effect of conditioning will also be discussed. So now, how can we recognize a particular prominence of a mode? So how can we recognize the mode of goodness becoming very, very prominent? That is being discussed now in the 11th verse. So just give me a minute. Okay, 14.11. Yeah. Okay. So Sarva Dvareshu Dehesmin. Sarva Dvareshu means, there are Navadware Pure Dehi. There are 9 gates in this particular body. And those have been stated by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. We all know that. Prakasha Upajayate. Actually, all those 9 gates, they get illuminated. Prakasha Upajayate. Jnanam yada tada vidya means all these gates, they are actually illuminated by what? Illuminated by knowledge. That time you should know. Vidya means you should know. Vivruddham sattvam iti uta. It is said when all the gates of the body, the 9 gates are being illuminated by the knowledge, that is the symptom that mode of goodness is prominent now. Like that. So what does it mean to be, illuminated by the knowledge? So when we earlier also we saw in the 14.6, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukasangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Chanaga. So all the gates illuminated means, just like it is said in Yukta Hara Viharasya Yukta Cheshtasya Karmasu in 6.17, how a yogi, or for that matter, any yogi, Jnana yogi, Dhyana yogi, Bhakti yogi, we have to be regulated, Yukta. You have to be regulated in the Ahar, Nidra, yukta ahara vihara, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, our recreation, our work, everywhere we have to be regulated. We should not go to any extreme like that. So ahara is not only food which we eat, ahara is actually the inputs which we give to all the indriyas. What is that I am watching by my gyanendriyas, by my eyes? What is that I'm hearing? What is that I'm smelling? What is that I'm tasting? So all the gyanendriyas, karmendriyas, they are illuminated, means we are actually doing those things which will not degrade myself, which will elevate me, like that, which will show that I'm actually situated in the knowledge. What is good, what is bad, what is purifying, what is contaminating, that one is aware of. That is what is referred to here as illuminated by the knowledge. Nowadays for the parents, it's a big challenge that, the kids, you cannot keep them away from the internet, social media, etc., etc., especially after this lockdown and, the corona period where everything was going online, etc. So it is not possible, but still, uh, even if they're watching cartoons, etc., nobody's sure, that cartoons, maybe it is innocently, maybe seemingly innocent cartoon, Mickey Mouse, etc., like that. But there may be a lot of violence, there may be a lot of other things, lust, etc. They have been shown through those particular cartoons, like that. So that's actually going to be affecting to the kids. So it's a big challenge for the parents, even for the devotee parents, that sometimes we may not be able to give 24 hours devotional inputs to the children, but at least if it is not purely devotional stuff, then at least it should be in the mode of goodness. Some stories, books, or whatever it may be, that should be, some moral should be there. Just like in our childhood, there was, this Panchatantra and this Hitopadesh, etc. They are not just stories like, story of a Cinderella or Jack and Jill went up the hill. There are a lot of morals in that, something we can learn from those stories also. So that's actually the thing. And, for the adults also, it's a great challenge to maintain, the all the inputs for the senses to be in the mode of goodness. It's very easy. We go onto the net or doing something, and then we end up doing something and spending a lot of time, etc., etc., like that. So, there was a politician in India who had this symbol of three monkeys. What are the three monkeys? They say, "Are bura mat bolo." I mean, don't say something bad. Don't say something bad. Don't hear something bad. Something like that, right? So that may be, just a negation. Don't see bad. But what to see good, that he may not be knowing, or that is not being stated, or that may be just on the material platform. But if you see this chapter number 2, Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna inquires from Krishna about स्थित प्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्य केशव स्थितधि किम प्रभाषेत किम आसीत व्रजेत किम. How does he speaks? What are his symptoms, general symptoms? How does he walks? How does he, sits, means how does he responds to the provoking situation in life? How does he engages his senses, right? And like that, kim asita vrajati kim. How does he, while being engaged in the worldly activity, how he engages senses, like that, he's actually asking him. And if you see, the Srila Prabhupada mentioned the purport, our senses are like venomous serpents. They're actually always wanting to be loosely let go and without any restrictions. But the devotee has to be like a snake charmer, and he has to engage those senses nicely. And of course, the Lord Sri Krishna is giving the analogy of Kurmo Angani Sarvasha. Kurma means actually the tortoise. So wherever there's a danger, the tortoise actually gets all the limbs, inside his shell. And even if there's a lion or somebody, they cannot do anything. And whenever there is a no danger, he can also that engage those senses. He can take out his limbs very nicely also, like that. So here, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that in the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, taste things in the right position. So there is a knowledge and there is a sense of happiness also. That is what is being stated here. And yesterday also we discussed about, how when the mode of goodness is there, Srila Prabhupada mentions by following the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, we can go from wherever the lower modes we are, we can come to the platform of goodness. And once we are in goodness, then how to make further progress, that will be revealed that will be revealed by Krishna, that will be revealed by Guru, that will be revealed by devotees, and Paramatma also will give us some indications like that. So that's about the senses, when being illuminated by the knowledge and happiness, that's the symptom of the goodness being actually prominent. Now he will talk about, Lord Sri Krishna will talk about the mode of passion. Next verse, 14.12. Lobha pravrittir arambha karmana shamaspruha rajasetani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshava. Please read Mukund Pad Prabhuji. Translation.
O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, repetitive activities, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Okay, similar, but especially now the prominence is being described here, because these things, some of them, we have already seen it earlier also. Lobha pravritti arambha. Lobha means the greed, actually. And I think Srila Prabhupada mentions, great attachment to the possessions, to the, the family members, etc., to the things which one possesses. So karmana is actually a lot of activities he is doing, and ashama spruha. Spruha means the desires, and ashama means uncontrollable. Just like in the for the Brahmana, the qualities of the Brahmana and the activities of Brahmana, Lord Krishna explains in the 18th chapter. Shamo damo tapas saucham shantir arjamayam. Shamo and damo. Shama means controlling the mind, and damo means controlling the senses. So here he said ashama spruha, means it is uncontrolled mind having lot of desires. I want this, I want that, right? Like that. There was a song earlier times. एक नहीं दो चार दिला दे, घोड़ा घोड़ा बंगड़ा क्या गाड़ी, whatever they दिला दे, aeroplane दिला दे, etc. like that. All these desires are there and they're uncontrollable like that. And that time you should know that that is the sign that now the passion is actually in prominence. And for that, prayas, intense endeavors also are there like that. So in the Sattva Guna, there is a knowledge, but in Rajaguna, that kind of knowledge may not be there, and therefore one may not have the proper direction. One may be working very hard, but that working hard is only for own sense gratification, either the self sense gratification or the extended sense gratification. But the knowledge which is there in the mode of goodness, that is actually lacking. And that's why we also discussed yesterday that, most of the people here today, the society, it is actually in the mode of passion and ignorance. That's why they may be working very hard, they may be moving very fast, they may be working round the clock in the shifts, etc., but they don't know where they are actually heading. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, Lobha means the tendency of being unable to give up one's possessions. Pravrutti means the tendency to make efforts to increase one's possessions, like that. Karmanam arambha means to engage in activities such as building one's house. Srila Prabhupada will also mention this palatial house in the like that. Karmana arambha. Ashama means inability of the senses to give up the enjoyment of the sense object. Spruha means longing for the objects, those desires. So by these characteristics, one should know that the rajas has increased. There is in Japan and many other places, there is one philosophy that is called as minimalistic philosophy. Have you heard about it? Minimalistic. Anybody has heard? There are some people who are having they're living by minimalistic philosophy. That means they will have, yes, Arun Prabhu, you can tell us what is that, if you know.
Yeah, like as far as I know that, in like the people who follow this philosophy, they want to they generally try to or tend to decrease their whatever requirements they have in their life. Like at home, they will live simply and they will eat simple food. So overall, they will try to minimize the material belongings and material way of living. That is minimalist.
Yes, correct. So they may not have hundreds and thousands of dresses in their wardrobe. They maybe have maybe 2 or 3 like that. There not be a lot of furniture in their house. they will have just very bare minimum, so that there is a space. There is a space outside and there is a space inside also, because of they're trying to reduce their desires and needs, etc., like that. So this may be there, but this may be only again on the material platform only. This is nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. Not that whatever extra time they get or whatever extra space they get, they're trying to use it to propagate Krishna consciousness. They are just trying to negate the negation of the clutter they are trying to make. But if you read Nectar of Instruction, where they talk about the 6 things that actually hamper bhakti, Atyahara Prayasasya Prajalpo Niyamagra. There Srila Prabhupada writes, the first sentence in the purport, human life is meant for plain living. That may sound like minimalistic, plain living and high thinking. Like that. That should be the combination. Plain living, but thinking should be high. Thinking a high means highest thinking is Krishna conscious thinking, right? Like that. But nowadays, modern society means high living, lifestyle, and everything will be very high, but thinking will be very low. Or sometimes very high living and no thinking only. Like that also, we may be able to see like that. Okay. So, Srila Prabhupada mentions, one in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the possession he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house, as if he would be able to reside in that house eternally. And he develops a great hankering for sense gratification. There is no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family and in his house and to continue the process of sense gratification. There is no cessation of this. All these symptoms should be understood as characteristics of the mode of passion. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam, in the 2nd chapter, Divinity and Divine Service. There, Sutta Goswami mentions, after answering the first question of the sages of the Naimisharanya, that what is the highest and absolute good for all the humanity, he explains that Savai Pumsan Paro Dharmo Yatho Bhaktir Adhokshaje. So bhakti is the highest, and that should be the goal in the life. Nothing else should be the goal. So there he mentions, Kamasana Indriya Priti Labho Jivet Yavata Jivasya Tattva Jidnyata Narto Yashcheha Karmabhi. Means Kamasana Indriya Priti. Our, life's desire should not be directed towards the sense gratification. So does that mean we should not eat, we should not sleep? No. Labho Jiveta Yadivata means only for self-preservation, whatever is required, we can do that. And then what else we should do then rest of the time? Jivasya Tattva Jidnyasa. We should do Brahma Jidnyasa. Jivasya Tattva Jidnyasa. Narto Yashcheha Karmabhi. There is no other work for the living entity in this world. There should not be no other goal in our life or in our, there should not be any other goal of doing any work. Although we may be going to office, we may be earning money, but the goal of that is to utilize it to further it in our Krishna consciousness. Fine. So that's about the Rajo, how we can see that Raja has prominence now. And now lastly, the ignorance, 14.13. Aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasya tani jayante vivruddhe kuru nandana. Please read. Prerna Mataji, can you read? 14.13.
Yes, Prabhuji. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. I have to read purport also, Prabhuji?
No, just 1 second. Huh? So, aprakasho, see, this is exactly opposite to the goodness. Goodness means there is a prakasha, light of knowledge, and ignorance means aprakasho. There is darkness, opposite to goodness, lack of knowledge. And then apravrutti. Apravrutti means inertia, which is opposite to the mode of passion. Passion means working, a lot of hard work. But in ignorance, there is apravrutti, means opposite to activity or inertia. As we said, procrastination. आज करे सो कल करे सो परसों, इतनी भी क्या जल्दी यारो जब जिना है परसों. Like that they say. Yes. So that's about the apravritti. Pramado means madness. What is good, what is bad, there's no. And the moha. Moha means again the illusion. Prabhupada explains moha, illusion means considering something to be something else. There is a rope and in the darkness, I don't know, I step on it, I feel, oh, there is a snake. So no, so considering a rope to be a snake, that is actually illusion, right? So considering myself to be my own body or my own mind, either the gross body or the mind, that is actually the biggest moha. Okay, so that's about the mode of ignorance. So you can read just that paragraph purport, Mataji. Prerna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. When there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. One in the mode of ignorance does not work by a regulative principles. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called as illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of one in the mode of ignorance.
Okay. Fine. And Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan explains that moha also means, sorry, I'll just read everything. By lack of knowledge, aprakasha. By enjoyment of things prohibited by scriptures and aversion to the prescribed actions, that is apravrutti. Okay. And pramada, he explains, by lack of awareness, inattention, for example, conviction that one does not possess an object even when holding it in one's own hand, pramada. And moha he explains as absorption in what is false. One should know that tamas has increased. So now after describing the prominence of a particular mode from 10 to 13, now 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, these verses, now Lord Sri Krishna will talk about the effect of conditioning of a mode. Especially is going to talk about the death and the result of action. So result of death in the modes, which will be explained in next two verses, 14 and 15. What will happen when one dies in a particular mode? 14.14 यदा सत्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तम विदाम लोकान अमलान प्रतिपद्यते. Please read. Prasanna Gopal Prabhu.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages.
Okay. So yada means when. Yada. Sattve pravruddhe, when the sattva is developed or sattva is in prominence, more of a goodness is there. And that time when somebody tu pralayam, when he dies, dehabrut, that time what happens? Tadottam vidam lokan. Tad uttama vidam. Uttama vidam means those who are the great sages. Lokan, their planets, that person goes. And amalan pratipadyate, he attains to those pure higher planets of the great sages when one dies in the mode of goodness. So mode of goodness means it is not that only mode of goodness is there. There will be in person's life, there will be, you see, in the material life, there cannot be pure goodness. Goodness is always mixed with passion and ignorance also. But here it is being said, it's a more prominence when somebody dies, means goodness is more rather than the passion and ignorance. That is the condition here it is being explained. So Prabhuji, you can read the purport also.
Purport. One in goodness attains higher planetary systems like Brahmaloka and Janaloka, and there enjoys godly happiness. The word Amalan is significant. It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness in the is the purest form of the existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live.
Okay. So this is Amalan, Srila Prabhupada explains, free from mode of passion and ignorance. That does not mean it is pure goodness, because he's talking about those planets which are within this Brahmanda only, right? So as you go up higher into the planetary system, the lower modes, they go on decreasing. It is not that they are absent completely. When we go to the heavenly planets, we see so many demigods performing so many passionate activities sometimes. So not that the passion is absent there, but they are prominently more into the mode of goodness. That is what is being described. It is not Shuddha Sattva is being described. Amalan means. Otherwise, Shuddha Sattva means should be beyond these material planets or material world. That means going into the Vaikuntha. So Krishna is explaining those universes who are higher planets than the earth, like that. Prominently, goodness is there. And what will happen when somebody dies in the mode of Rajas and Tamas? That will be explained in 14.15. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangi shujayate tatha pralinas tamasi mood tatha pralinas tamasi mudayoni shujayate. Please read. Dipali Mataji, can you read?
Yes. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom.
So we often hear now this human life or human form of life is like a junction. Just like when you go to a train station, there's a junction, and from that junction you can change your direction. So similarly, human life means, from here you can go up, you can transcend, and you can go down also. Everything is possible. So please read the purport. Can you read the purport also?
Yes. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance, after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life. From there, one has to again elevate himself by an evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status.
Okay, thank you. So Srila Prabhupada always gives, whatever may be the verse referring to, Prabhupada always gives the devotional purports. Bhakti Vedanta purports are always devotional. The solution, therefore, he said, if anybody reads one verse, one purport, one line, he should understand what should be the goal of life. Srila Prabhupada was in the West, in the US, and he was in the university. And he was explaining about the real problems of life. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. Like that he was explaining. And then, he was cautioning those students there that, we have to be, really careful how we are living our life. And we should aim not to take birth again, again birth, again death. There's a chance that, we can become a dog also in the next life. So, in American culture, how they are dog loving, right? So one student, he raised his hand and he objected to Swamiji. Swamiji, what is wrong if I become a dog in the next life? What is the wrong? He said, I shall forget everything. Will you be happy? Yes, I will be happy. There's no problem. So now, Swamiji, what can Swamiji? Swamiji was not expecting something like this, What is the problem in becoming dog? Because he said becoming dog means it's very good, nowadays in US, they leave the property by the names of cats and dogs, and there are restaurants for the dogs, etc., etc. They bathe the dog, there are competition, there are sports, restaurants, menu cards, etc. So the person was thinking, what is the problem if I'm becoming dog? So Swamiji could not understand his perspective. So Srila Prabhupada said, you have my blessings to become a dog. That's all he could say actually to that particular person. So Prabhupada was mentioning, so this is the university education. We are not afraid of becoming a dog also. And he's thinking that this is also very good. So where this humanity, our civilization is actually heading, it is actually down, it's going down actually. And it's very, very difficult for them actually to preach to them, to raise them to the platform of goodness, Krishna consciousness, etc., etc. So actually to give them this education, it's very, very difficult. They will not be able to take, they will not be able to appreciate it. And therefore he says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and he says, Harer Naam eva kevalam kalo nasteva gatir anyatha. So that's all. Just they will not be able to understand philosophy, but somehow if they chant Harer Naam, then at least they can be saved. Somebody was asking yesterday, whether we know, analyze goodness, passion, ignorance, where we are situated, where we have to go, what our activities, symptoms, etc. Even if we don't understand, and without any analysis, if somebody takes to devotional service, serving Lord Sri Krishna, devotees, chanting the holy name, taking prasadam, etc. Also he does, whether he knows or he doesn't knows, he will be slowly elevated. So therefore, you will find that even in Krishna consciousness, there are some devotees who may not be very educated or intellectually oriented, but they understand what is to be done, what is not to be done. They're getting early in the morning, doing all sadhana, seva, whatever swadhyaya they are able to do. That's how they will have a proper direction in the life. So just like for a medicine, without knowing what is the chemical composition in the medicine, even if you take that medicine, so the effect of medicine will not depend upon your knowledge about the medicine or its composition. Anyhow, it will act. So that is how the glorious is Krishna consciousness. So now going further, 16, 17, 18, Lord Sri Krishna will explain about the results of actions in the three modes. So I think so we'll have a break and then we'll come back. So anybody has any question or comment, whatever we discussed so far today? Otherwise, we'll take a break and we'll come back in 7 minutes.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Can I ask?
Yes,
Prabhuji, while discussing it, destination after death of a person, it is given that goodness person attains higher planets like sages of Brahmaloka, then accordingly passion and ignorance. But nowhere Prabhupada or in Gita it is not quoted that they will attain Goloka. So is it discussed about the general, this Gita was spoken to Arjuna, Arjuna was a devotee. So I'm getting confused if Lord is speaking with a devotee, is he speaking regarding with devotee or with general people?
So Prabhupada gives an analogy. When there is a new daughter-in-law comes into the home, the mother-in-law, what she does, she doesn't calls out her name directly, and she says to her own daughter, please take that jhadu and please clean the hall or whatever like that. So the daughter-in-law understands this is not for the daughter, it's actually for me. She takes up chup chap the jhadu and goes and cleans. So although Arjuna is being made an instrument, it is not actually for Arjuna. Arjuna is a pure devotee. Gita is not told for the Arjuna. Arjuna doesn't require. He already knows Parabrahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Gita is told through Arjuna to all of us.
But if a person dies in a mode of goodness, then his destination is not Goloka?
So, so goodness, passion and ignorance, they are actually within this material world only. Goloka means it is pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva. That means you are transcending the modes. That will come in 14.27 now, going further towards the end. So a devotee, by performing devotional service, he has to go beyond the three modes. Goodness means within this Brahmanda, but higher planets of the sages and Abrahma Bhuvana Loka like that. But goodness will not take you beyond material world. It will bind you to material world only, like that.
Okay,
Is this?
thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Arun Prabhuji.
Yeah, I had a question from yesterday's class, but it was late, therefore I could not ask yesterday. Should I ask now?
Yeah, please.
In the Shloka Prabhuji Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya, in 14.4, like we have studied that in purport, Prabhupada writes that it's not possible without the seed giving or without the seed of the father that the living entity can produce. So, from a spiritual perspective, we understand that even Krishna can glance at the material world or glance and produce. But like when we extend this understanding to normal context, then we understand that okay, father is important to give the seed to the mother in the womb, but then mother is also important. How will father produce child without the mother? So understand from philosophical point of view, because Krishna can impregnate even by seeing, or he gives the seed in that way. But then how to explain or how to understand it from overall or the practical perspective point of view.
What do you want to understand? What is your last part of the question?
Like father, seed giving father is important, but is it that without mother a child can be
Okay,
produced?
okay. So you see what happens now, all whenever there's an analogy given, why the analogy is given? Just to make us understand the point. Go from what we know to go where what we do not know. So to for that purpose, if you stretch that analogy too much, to normal father and normal mother and the child, then it will become mother is also important like that. Now here the point is actually whether it is Prakriti or whether it is Jiva, they're all the energy of Lord Sri Krishna only, right? So that way we can answer. Is Prakriti independent of Krishna or is Jiva independent of Krishna? They are not. Both are dependent on Krishna only. So everything is Krishna only. Without Krishna, nothing will happen. And when spiritually we know, when it gives birth to the Brahmaji, he doesn't require any mother actually. Without mother, Brahmaji Swambhu is born from the navel. Padmanabh, we say. From his Nabi comes the lotus and the Brahmaji is born. So the analogy has its utility, but we should not, extend it too much. Otherwise, the point will not be made like that.
Okay, thank you, Guruji.
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll take a break and come back by 12:40. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So shall we go to the next verse now? 14.16, 16, 17, 18. They will talk about the results of actions in the three modes. 14.16. We completed 15, na? Yeah, okay. So 14.16. Karmana sukrutasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasa phalam. Please read. Bhakti Lila Mataji, can you please read?
Yes, Prabhuji. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But the action done in the mode of passion, result in misery, and the action performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness.
Okay, yes, thank you. So karmanam sukrutasyahu. It is said, sukrutasya chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrito. Sukrita means meritorious. Dushkrito and sukrito. Prabhupada explains in the 7th chapter. So karmana sukrutasyahu. So the work done in the mode of goodness, satvikam nirmalam phalam, that will have nirmalam phalam. That action is, the result of pious action is pure and it is said to be in the mode of goodness. Rajasastu phalam dukkham. Any activity done in the passion results in misery. And tamasa phalam, what is that? Ajnanam. Action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says the result of sattvic work is pure happiness without distress. The result of rajas is sorrow. The result of tamas is ignorance. You know, there are, Srila Prabhupada will actually highlight the animal slaughter business as the more activity in the mode of ignorance and how it is dangerous for that particular person who's killing the animals or eating the meat, that he will highlight. But we can see nowadays as the society is into the mode of passion and ignorance, that is how the activities based on passion and ignorance, and that's how they will also get the results. Sometime back there was a news that there are two people, young people, they were living in relationships, and the guy actually, something went wrong, and the guy actually chopped that lady's body into some 30 plus pieces, and he actually stored them in the fridge, and later on disposed them one by one into the forest or something like that. Or recently also, last year I think in the US, there's a lot of agitation based on the abortion. This is another abominable activity. So there is a lot of demonstrations. There are people who are, against the abortion. There are some people who are, pro abortion. They say, it's our life. We can do whatever we want. Please don't tell us what we should do. It's our freedom. It's our life, like that, etc., etc. So that is actually going on. So that's how we can see these things, activities and the results. So Srila Prabhupada mentions the results of pious activities in mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in happiness. But activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to undergo before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth. Those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is actually not real happiness, actual happiness. Okay. So now Prabhupada goes on to explain about this animal killing. So Mataji, can you please read the second paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present miseries. And afterward, he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable, although under the spell of the illusory energy Maya. The animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is the law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hung. That is the law of state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of a Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant being killed. One has to pay for it. So, indulgence in animal killing for the test of tongue is the grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animal because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulge in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. All of kind of animal killing, the killing of cow is the most vicious because the cow gives us all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. So cow slaughter is an act of the grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, Rigveda 9.46.4, the word gobihi pranita masaram indicates that one who being fully satisfied by milk is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literature that states, Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagata Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Nama. My Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cow and Brahmanas, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society and the world. Vishnu Puran 1.19.65. The purport is that the special mention is given in that prayer for the protection of cow and the Brahmanas. Brahmana are the symbol of spiritual education, and the cow are the symbol of the most valuable food. And these two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is the real advancement of civilization. In the modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in wrong direction and is clearing the path of its own condemnation. A civilization which guides the citizen to become animal in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance, and it is very dangerous age. And all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save the humanity from the greatest danger.
So Prabhupada makes use of this particular verse to highlight what is going on in society based on passion and ignorance, especially the cow killing and animal killing and like that. So even if India, if you see, India is, although the land of Dharma, India is one of the largest exporters of the beef and this cow killing. And there are government-owned slaughterhouses, just like they have, government license, Deshi Daruche Dukan they have. So similarly, government is also owning slaughterhouses and they're spending crores and crores of rupees to, upgrade the machineries, etc., to kill cows and export the beef. So this is the state of affairs now currently. So it's very, very dangerous for the people who are, being governed by such governments. And that shows the grossest kind of ignorance. Another thing which Prabhupada highlights many other places, this abortion also. So that is also very, very rampant nowadays, especially in the Kali Yuga. And so killing the child who has not even seen the ray of, light, that is being killed in the womb on the pretext of their own freedom and whatever else it may be. So there was many years back in Maharashtra, there was one doctor, he has been caught and he was running the racket of abortion only. So just like we have real estate agents, he had many, many agents. And somebody's, the poor people, the agents will bring these poor ladies and poor people to this particular doctor. and they will do this, sex identification of the child. And even if it is a male child, they will say it is a girl. And these poor people, they don't want to have another girl or whatever. Then they allow the doctor to abort it, and the whole racket was, busted somehow, and everything actually came out like that. So just to make money. So that's how the dangerous path these people are trading. And therefore, as a devotees, we have to be very, very careful. Okay. So another next verse also it continues. Satvat sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramado moho tamaso bhavato jnanam evacha. Please read. Nagnajiti Priya Mataji, can you please read?
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion.
So we have seen, So we have seen these characteristics earlier also. So that from knowledge arises from the sattva, greed arises from the rajas, and inattention, confusion, ignorance arises from the tamas, like that. Okay. So how does Krishna consciousness helps? And this mode of ignorance, mode of passion, all these things will be described again by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. So please read, Mataji.
Since the present civilization is not very congenial to the living entities, Krishna consciousness is recommended. Through Krishna consciousness, society will develop the mode of goodness. When the mode of goodness is developed, people will see things as they are. In the mode of ignorance, people are just like animals and cannot see things clearly. In the mode of ignorance, for example, they do not see that by killing one animal, they are taking the chance of being killed by the same animal in the next life. Because people have...
One second. You must have seen this cover page of this laws of nature, right? There is a cow being killed, an axe, and the animal is having human face, and that human who's killing the animal. So that's about the laws of nature. So mamsa. Mamsa means what? Who can explain mamsa? The word, they call it as non-veg. They don't call it veg and dead carcass or dead animal. This don't say. They call it very nicely, veg and non-veg. But actually, this mamsa means what? Mam means me, sa means you. Now I'm killing you, and tomorrow, late next life, you kill me, like that. So that's actually called as mamsa. You kill me next life. Me and you. Okay, please go ahead.
Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible. To stop this irresponsibility, education for developing the mode of goodness of the people in general must be there. When they are actually educated in the mode of goodness, they will become sober in full knowledge of things as they are. Then people will be happy and prosperous. Even if the majority of people aren't happy and prosperous, if a certain percentage of the population develops Krishna consciousness and becomes situated in the mode of goodness, then there is the possibility of peace and prosperity all over the world. Otherwise, if the world is devoted to the modes of passion and ignorance, there can be no peace or prosperity. In the mode of passion, people become greedy and their hankering for sense enjoyment has no limit. One can see that even if one has enough money and adequate arrangements for sense gratification, there is neither happiness nor peace of mind. That is not
one second. I think I read a couple of years back, there was a news. There was one person, entrepreneur, businessman. He committed suicide in Karnataka by jumping over the bridge into the river, flooded, river, and he actually committed suicide. And the net worth of this particular person was, who's the owner of these coffee shops, 25,000 crores. How much? 25,000 crores he had, but still he committed suicide. That's what Prabhupada is writing. There's neither happiness nor peace of mind. Yes, please go ahead.
That is not possible because one is situated in the mode of passion. If one wants happiness at all, his money will not help him. He has to elevate himself to the mode of goodness by practicing Krishna consciousness. When one is engaged in the mode of passion, not only is he mentally unhappy, but his profession and occupation are also very troublesome. He has to devise so many plans and schemes to acquire enough money to maintain his status quo. This is all miserable. In the mode of ignorance, people become mad. Being distressed by their circumstances, they take shelter of intoxication and thus they sink further into ignorance. Their future in life is very dark.
Thank you. Yes. So this is how Srila Prabhupada explains that how these activities in goodness, passion, and ignorance, and how actually Krishna consciousness can help us. Through Krishna consciousness, society will develop the mode of goodness. When the mode of goodness is developed, people will see things as they are. That means they will be situated in knowledge, actually, and they will be able to see. Otherwise, they see, everybody is doing the same thing. What is the difference? What happens? Like that. So you can take it as a homework and read from Chaitanya Charitamrut, Madhya Leela. There is a chapter where, 24th chapter, where, there's Sanatan Shiksha. Sanatan Goswami is being taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he tells the story of Mrugari. How Mrugari was a hunter, he was a sinner, not only a sinner, I mean, he was increasing his sin to many folds, because he was killing the animals halfway, not fully. And because he comes in contact with the great devotee Narad Muni, and that's how Narad Muni transforms. That's a story of, practical story, how by association of a great devotee, what is the power of association of a great devotee, that particular Mrugari is transformed. And Narad Muni asks him to break his bow and arrow. Then he says, how can I survive? Don't worry, you will get your 2 meals. All the people surrounding the village, they come to know this hunter has become a saintly person. So they come to see him. And then, because in the Indian Vedic tradition, they don't go to saintly person with empty hands. They always bring some atta, chawal, something actually to give him. And then he says to Narad Muni when he visits him next time, don't give him so much. They're bringing me so much. The same Mrugari who was worried, if I break my bow, how will I make my sustenance? How will I eat my food? How will I make my living? And Narad Muni tells him, your bow and arrow is not the means of your sustenance. Lord Krishna is actually maintaining everyone. So that's how then he's transformed. And later, the same person who's half killing the animals and enjoying it, he is not able to step on the ants also. So that's a great transformation is being brought by the Narad Muni association. And then the Parvat Muni is accompanying the Narad Muni. He actually, there's a nice verse there. When he sees the behavior of the this particular Mrugari, then he says, देखिया व्याधेर प्रेम पर्वत महामुनि नारदेर कहे तुम्ही हो स्पर्शमणि. You are actually a touchstone because you have touched the life of this Mrugari, and that's how he has now become completely transformed. Then he invites Narad Muni and Parvat Muni to his house, and he actually cleans the place, put in the straw mats, and actually he washes the feet of Narad Muni and Parvat Muni, he and his wife, and they actually take that water and drink it and sprinkle it on their head. And after that, he actually develops the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, like that. That's how Parvat Muni says, what you have done, you are actually a Sparshmani, you are a Parasmani. Wherever you touch, you will make that actually, you will turn the iron into the gold. Like that, this iron-like person, you have turned into the gold. Similarly, if you study Narad Vyas Samvad in this Bhagavatam first canto, there is a verse which says, the point I'm trying to make is, the same good fortune we also have, whatever our lives were earlier before coming to Krishna consciousness, because of Srila Prabhupada, our life is also transformed. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abaddavatyapi namani anantasesho ankitanyat shunvanti gayanti grunanti sadhava. So Srila Prabhupada, this verse says, Narad Muni is telling to Vyasadeva, his disciple, there are 2 categories of people. One is a crow category, one is, the Hamsa category. What do you call that in English? Hams? Swan. Swan category. So crow category, they always go and try to take something from the, garbage. So that's a ignorance there, right? And the those in the goodness or the devotees, they will always enjoy actually the literature which is glorifying the Namani Yasho Ankitani Yat. Namani Yashwankitani means that literature which is glorifying the holy name of the Lord, is Nama Rupa Gunalila, etc. like that. That literature is, even though it is being composed with some grammatical mistakes and this and that, still they will accept it, they will hear it, and they will follow it like that. So this is the verse which says, Tad Vak Visargo Janata Agha Viplavo. Agha means the sin. So that literature, that Vak, Tad Vak Visargo means that creation, that those words which are there in this literature, they will bring revolution in the lives of the impious or the sinful people. Janata Agha Viplavo. Viplava means the revolution in the lives of the people. And this is what, the transformation, Srila Prabhupada's books, they have done all over the world. And that's how they have been read all over the world in so many languages. And we should also similarly take advantage of these books and try to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada in his books, given in his books, and of his followers also. Then our life also will take a U-turn. Fine. So now, direction after the death, which direction they will go? Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhya tishtanti rajasa jaganya gunavruttistha adho gachanti tamasa. 14.18, please read translation. Arun Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation: those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the highest planets. Those in the mode of
Higher
passion,
planets.
sorry, upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Okay, so the first paragraph you can read, it talks about somebody situated in the goodness and its destination. Please read the first paragraph only.
Purport: in this verse, the results of actions in the three modes of nature are more explicitly set forth. There is an upper planetary system consisting of the heavenly planets where everyone is highly elevated. According to the degree of development of the mode of goodness, the living entity can be transferred to various planets in this system. The highest planet is Satyalok or Brahmalok, where the prime person of this universe, Lord Brahma, resides. We have seen already that we can hardly calculate the wondrous condition of life in Brahmalok, but the highest condition of life, the mode of goodness, can bring us to this.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So that's about the mode of goodness. What is the destination after the death? Now comes the mode of passion and the destination. Next paragraph. Somebody else can read. Isha Mataji, can you read?
Yes, Prabhuji. The mode of passion is mixed. It is in the middle between the mode of goodness and ignorance. A person is not always pure, but even if he should be purely in the mode of passion, he will surely remain on this earth as a king or a rich man. But because there are mixtures, one can also go down. People on this earth in the mode of passion or ignorance cannot forcibly approach the higher planets by machine. In the mode of passion, there is also the chance of becoming mad in the next life. The lowest.
No. Okay, fine. So that's about the mode of passion. Ignorance, somebody else can read. Aruna Mataji, can you read the next paragraph? You are there, or somebody, Prasanna Gopal Prabhu, can you read?
The lowest quality, the mode of ignorance, is described here as abominable. The result of developing ignorance is very, very risky. It is the lowest quality of material nature. Beneath the human level, there are 8 million species of life, birds, beasts, reptiles, trees, etc. And according to the development of the mode of ignorance, people are brought down to these abominable conditions. The word tamasa is very significant. The tamasa indicates those who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to the higher mode. Their future is very dark.
So yes, so one of the points why we should study about the three modes is because we should know first of all where we are situated. Before we talk about where we have to go, where I am situated, and then we can slowly go towards that which is in the goodness, and then transcend ultimately even goodness and go to the pure goodness. So that's the solution Srila Prabhupada is giving in the last paragraph. First 3 paragraphs for the goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the solution part, the last. There is an opportunity for men in the mode of ignorance and passion to be elevated to the mode of goodness, and that system is called Krishna consciousness. But one who does not take advantage of this opportunity will certainly continue in the lower modes. So that is actually the thing. Okay. So now that's the end of the second section of the chapter number 14, where the effect of conditioning of the 3 modes is being discussed. Now comes the last and the most important part about the 19 to 27. These last 9 verses, they will talk about the transcending the 3 modes and becoming gunatita by engaging in the devotional service. Okay. So in the next verse, 19th verse, Lord Sri Krishna will talk about, he talks about the liberation, going beyond the 3 modes. And in the next 2 verses also, at 19-20 also he speaks about that. Yeah, 20 also he speaks about that. Yes. So, seeing the modes as the doer and actually how Lord Sri Krishna is transcendental, that will be discussed in 19th verse. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drushtanu pashyati gunebhescha param vetti mad bhavam so adhigachyati. So please read Madhav Harinam Prabhuji. Translation.
When one properly sees that in all activities, no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature.
Okay. Mad bhavam sodhi gacchati. He will come to my nature, my bhava, like that. He will come, he will attain the eternal nature, like that. When nanyam gunebhya kartaram, when one is able to see that, this is a theme which we have been discussing especially in the last section of the 13th chapter, and earlier also in the Bhagavad Gita, Gune Karmani Sarvasha 3.27, we discussed that. So Nanyam Gunebhya Kartara means other than the gunas, there is no other doer. Yada Drushta Anupashyati, one who is able to see like this. Anupashyati means, Anu means to follow, Pashyati means to see. So Anupashyati means one who is able to see it very properly, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, not seeing things with our own eyes, but seeing by the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, like that. So, Gunebhyascha param vetti. So, one who sees whatever one is doing, conditioned soul, that is being executed by the 3 modes only. And what is the second thing to know? Gunebhyascha param vetti. Mad bhavam sodhi gacchati. Actually, I am the Supreme Lord, Lord Sri Krishna, is gunebhyascha param vetti. That means he is transcendental to the 3 modes of nature. What will happen to him? One who knows like these 2 things, mad bhavam sodhi gacchati. He will attain to my nature. He will come to the spiritual abode, like that. So that's about the anupashyati. So how to see properly? And Srila Prabhupada mentions. You can please read the translation also, purport also.
One can transcend all the activities of the mode of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper souls. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting this spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn the science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected.
Okay, so here Srila Prabhupada is saying, that we have to be guided by a proper soul, means from the spiritual master who are expert or are able to follow their own spiritual masters who are coming in parampara, like that. So how one can exactly learn from the spiritual master to transcend? By the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is being entrapped, And how he's under the spell of material modes of nature. He's helpless, being in the grip of these modes. But when he can see his real position, that anupashyati, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. So especially here it is talked about following the instructions of the spiritual master and in pleasing the spiritual master by following his instructions, like that, like Srila Prabhupada showed by his own example. Okay. One second. Huh? Now, how he is helpless, how everything is being done by the gunas is actually being described that. He is helpless being in the grip of these modes, but when he can see his real position, he can attend to. Okay, actually the living entity is not performer of different activities. Do you remember that verse 13.32? What was that? Anaditvat nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayam sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. He is not the doer and he doesn't get entangled. So here it is been said, he's actually the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He's forced to act because he's situated in a particular type of body, conducted by some particular mode of material nature. Unless one has the help of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position. Therefore, we recite this, Om Ajnanati Virandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. We can see the real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. Where it is stated? 7th chapter. This is a paraphrasing of the verse. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mame Vaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So for one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. So that's the first mention of, how we can transcend the three modes. That's it. Now, what does it mean to be Mad Bhavam so Adhigacchati? That is being elaborated. Lord is clarifying now. Mad Bhavam so Adhigacchati. 14.20. Gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkher vimukto amrutam. Please read. Who has not read so far? Aruna Mataji, can you read? 14.19. 20, I think so. Yeah, 20. Are you able to read or somebody else should read? 14.20. Okay. Isha Mataji, you can read.
Yes, Prabhuji. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
Okay, fine. So you can read the purport also. Yes.
Yes, purport. How can one stay in the transcendental position even in this body, in full Krishna consciousness, is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy the spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service.
So again, this is the paraphrasing of what is that? Saguna, no. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate brahma. Param. So after coming to the Brahman platform, coming to the spiritual platform, then when one engages the spirit soul into the service of the super soul, then one attains to the pure devotional service. So that's being stated here in the last few lines. So actually this paragraph, this whole purport is nothing but the paraphrasing of a verse from the Nectar of Devotion, which says actually that how a pure devotee who is performing devotional service, pure devotional service, even while he is situated in the material body, is always liberated. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilasva api avasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. So one is called a jivan mukta. Although pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, although they are in this material body, their body may seem to be getting old and having so many diseases, the teeth are falling, this, that, etc. But still, that is actually because of the power of their devotional service. Iha yasya harer dasya. Because their harer dasya, their service to the Hari, by karmana manasa gira, by their activities, physical body, by mind, and gira means by the power of their speech. Nikhilashva api avasthasu. In all situations of life, jivan mukta sa uchyate. So therefore, why do we do not burn the bodies of our acharyas? Why do they put them into the samadhi? Because those bodies are no more material bodies now. They are become spiritual. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of iron rod. When you take the iron rod and put it into the fire, that iron rod doesn't remain iron rod. It becomes warmer, and then it becomes red hot. When it becomes red hot, if you touch that iron rod thinking it is iron rod, it has acquired the property of fire. It is no more an ordinary iron rod. It becomes fire or fiery. So therefore, anywhere you touch that iron rod, it will burn you actually. Similarly, the great acharyas, their bodies, by their devotional service, karmana manasa gira, they have already transcended the three modes, and they are actually, the bodies also become like the iron rod, fiery or spiritual. So of course, this change will not happen overnight. We'll have to endeavor properly situated in our devotional service, trying to please Guru, Sadhu, Shastri, Guru, and Sri Krishna, Guru, and the devotees also around us. So that's about the transcending the mode. And what does it mean by the so mad bhavam adhigachyati? So mad bhavam adhigachyati means all the three modes are being transcended while living in this body, and he will go beyond janma mrityu jara dukkher vimukto amrutam ashnute. He will attain to the eternal life. He will enjoy amruta. He will enjoy the nectar of spiritual life while being in this world, in this material body only. Okay, so the next now is a nice inquiry from Arjuna. Arjuna is going to ask now 3 questions in the 14.21. He will ask the first question: what are the symptoms of one who has transcended the modes, 3 modes, because that's the topic now in the last section. Then the next question he will ask: how can we know somebody has transcended the modes? What are his activities or behavior? And then the most important question is, how can one transcend? What process one needs to adopt in order to transcend the 3 modes? Okay. So Arjuna Uvacha 14.21. Arjuna Uvacha Kerlinge Strin Gunan Etam Atito Bhavati Prabho Kimachara Katham Kim Achara Katham Chaitam Strin Gunan Ativartate. Yes, please read. Sri Gangaputra Prabhu, can you read? 1421.
Actually, I'm in public place.
Okay. Aruna Mataji, can you read?
Yes, Chandra. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these 3 modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature?
Okay, so this is the same verse. Acharya is also Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that in the 2nd chapter, in the last section, Atmaram, where Arjuna asks, what is that I just said? Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. So there he asked about the symptoms, general symptoms of a Sita prajna who is situated in Krishna consciousness, and how does he walks? How does he walks means, I mean, how does he engages his senses while being engaged in the world, worldly activities, and how does he controls the senses, etc., etc. That's how he's asking. But there he's not asking about how to transcend the three gunas. Now, especially here, he's asking about how to transcend the three modes, like that. Trin gunan ati vartate. How to transcend, like that. Okay. So, the symptoms, what are his symptoms? He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material modes. He first inquires of the symptoms of such transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of the modes of material nature? Then Kim Achara, his behavior. The second question asks how he lives and what his activities are. Are they regulated or non-regulated? Katham chaitam strin gunan ativartate. How he transcends the modes. When Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature, that is very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendently, there is no possibility of showing these symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important, and the Lord will answer them. Okay. So the next three questions, 22 to 25, we'll take them now. So they will answer the questions. So 22, 23, 24, 25. These four verses. The 22 will answer Kim Linge, means what is symptoms, one who has transcended the modes, and Kim Achara, his behavior or activities, will be explained in 14.23, 24, and 25. Okay. So, Kim Kerlinge, what are the symptoms? Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava, na dveshti sampravrittani, na nivrittani kankshati. Now, what is his behavior? Udasina vadasino guneryo na vichalyate, gunavartante ittevam yovatisthati nengate. It continues now. Samadukha sukha sastha samaloshtrashma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samstuti. And lastly, again, his behavior. Mana apamanayos tulya tulyo mitra ari pakshayo sarvaramba parityagi gunatita sa uchyate. So, please read. Mukunda Patru, please read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not have illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Okay, fine. So this is something similar to what Lord has answered about the Nishkam Karma Yogi in the 5th chapter, or about the devotees. You know, there are 8 verses which Krishna says such a, so Yomat Bhakta Same Priya in the 12th chapter Bhakti Yoga. There he mentions from the last 13 to 20, these verses, he mentions something similar. Advishta Sarva Bhutana Maitra Karuna Evacha. And then also some of the qualities have been also stated in the 13.8 to 12, which we studied earlier. Okay. So here it is being said, Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava. So all these prakasham, pravritti, moha, these are referring to whom? These are referring to the mode of goodness, prakasham. Pravritti means activities, attachments. That is actually greed. That is referring to passion. And moha is referring to the mode of ignorance. Na dveshti sampravruttani. When they are actually present, he is actually does not hate them. If they are present in anyone, he does not hate them. Na nivruttani kankshati, nor for himself actually desires that they should go away like that. These are the symptoms. And as far as his behavior is concerned, is udasina, means actually is neutral and is not disturbed by the three modes. And knowing that the modes alone are active. Yeah, guna vartanta itteva. Gunas are only active that he understands, and that's how that helps him to remain neutral. Then sama dukkha sukha swastha. He is actually in equilibrium, alike in the happiness or distress. If you remember, there was a similar verse in 13.8 to 20. Tulya ninda stutir, etc. Means he is actually sukha dukkha. He is actually very, very steady. In the Sthita Prajna section also, Lord Sri Krishna will answer that Dukkheshu anudigdamana, Sukheshu vigata spruha. A Sthita Prajna, when there is a happy situation, is not very elated. And when there is a dukkha, he is not very depressed because he is looking at it from a different perspective. He sees only because of Lord's mercy, I got this happiness, I did not deserve it. And by my own karma, I deserve more distress, but Lord is only giving me a token punishment. That's how he's able to samadukha swastha, samaloshrashma kanchana. How he sees equally sama, loshtra ashma kanchana. Ashma means the rock or the ashes, and kanchana is actually the gold, and lostrum is actually the stone. Whether it is stone or lump of earth or the ashes or the gold, everywhere it is, everything is equal to him only. And that's not only in terms of the objects, but in terms of the people. Tulya priya apriyo. Even somebody is sorry, he is equal towards desirable. Priya apriya means something desirable comes into his life, or something undesirable comes into his life. He is although steady, dhira. Tulya nindatma samstuti. Whether it is somebody praises him or criticizes him. And again, mana apman. Again, whether it is somebody honors him or dishonors him, or it is a whether it is mitra ari pakshi, or whether it is an enemy, or whether it is ari means shatru. Indrari vyakulam loke. So ari means the enemy. So he is actually equal to all of them. And sarvaramba parityagi. He's renounced all material activities. Such a person who is exhibiting these symptoms, such activities, he is actually called as gunatita. He has transcended the three modes. So now we shall go into these two paragraphs, and two devotees can read. The first paragraph talks about na dveshti na kankshati. He envies no one or hankers for nothing. And the next paragraph, kim achara, what is his behavior in the praise, honor, dishonor, blame, happiness, distress. All those things will be explained. So, who can read? Yes, Prerna Mataji, can you read the first paragraph? After taking this verse, we'll stop there. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Arjuna submitted three different questions and the Lord answered them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendentally situated has no envy and does not hanker for anything. When a living entity stays in the material world, embodied by the material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need the material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act. But as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature.
Okay, fine. And then the as activities or Kim Acharata. Arun Prabhu, can you read?
The next question concerns the dealings of a transcendentally situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body. But the transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone as his dear friend who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendentally situated.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So any character comes to your mind when you read such descriptions?
This Prabhuji, he can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. So while reading on, now only I was remembering His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, that in his will he has written, I have no possession, no car, nothing. So except the watch Prabhupada has given. And when you see his life, then he was dedicated 24 hours a day for Prabhupada's service and not for 1 2 years continuously till his last breath. So while reading this example came to my mind, and there are several examples, almost all Prabhupada disciples who are working now in our movement, and Prabhupada himself has shown this example by his personal example, and all his great disciples are following on the same footsteps.
Okay, yes. So Srila Prabhupada, he was constantly flying all around the globe. And for an author, it is said, you need a peaceful place. Many authors, many famous authors, they take a vacation, they go to some nice in the nature's lap and they sit there and they try to write, again they fold and again discard, again write something. Like that, they try to write their books or whatever. But Srila Prabhupada, he wrote all these purports while constantly traveling all around the world. And as I said last time also, there was no time, his personal servants, they mentioned that he was not having some medical issue or some health issue or the other constantly. And when you're constantly traveling, there is a jet lag and this and that. But next day morning, he will, even though he's traveling all over the world, he will continue to sit back in the night, continue, although he has given so many preaching programs, he has traveled from one continent to another, he will continue to write his Bhaktivedanta purports dictated in the dictaphone like that. So whenever such descriptions are there, yes, we can remember Srila Prabhupada or his followers like that. And also if you read the discussion between the King Rahuguna and the Jad Bharat, there also you will find this behavior, Kim Acharati. So King Rahuguna is actually traveling in the palanquin and one fellow is short for the king's to carry the king's palanquin, and they see this Jad Bharata Hatta Katta fellow, so they engage him, and because there are ants on the way, he's actually jumping here and there, and the king is getting disturbed. The king is using a lot of his king is threatening to kill him, punish him. He's using a lot of sarcasm, that you may be fatigued and you're carrying the palanquin alone, this that, so many ways, and actually is addressing, you are very fat, this that. But actually Jada Bharata actually is, because he's gunatit, it is said he was like a diamond who is covered by the ashes, not to be seen directly. Although he appeared to be like a madman, he has purposely taken that because he didn't want to take any chance. So like that it is said. And those discussions, if you see actually, then you will see these descriptions coming into the actions in pages of Bhagavatam or even among the devotees or the acharyas who are around us. So in fact, after King Raghuna hears this, the instructions from King Bharat or his talks, he jumps out of the palanquin and prostrated, he fully puts a dandavat, and he actually tells him, I am actually not afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, or I'm not actually afraid of the trident of Lord Shiva, or the punishment of Yamaraja, fire, scorching sun, moon, etc. But I'm afraid of offending a Brahmana. So I'm very much afraid of this, and therefore he begs his forgiveness from the Vaishnava aparadh which he has committed. Okay, so I think we extended 5 minutes because generally I don't give a break in 2 hours discussion sessions, but because this is a Jnana section, maybe this is little too much to continuously discuss for 2 hours. So we're taking a break of 5 minutes, and that's how I'm taking the liberty of extending for next 5 minutes also till 13:35. So our time is over. So I would like to stop here and see if there are any questions or comments. And those who want to go away, they can go. And those who have questions or comments, they can stay back. Okay, Madhav Harinam Prabhuji, yes.
Prabhuji, in the last verse, Urdhvam Gacchati Shastri.
What is the verse number?
18.
Okay.
Adho Gachanti Tamasa. So those who are in mode of darkness or tamoguna, they go to the lower planetary systems. But also it is said that those who are on the mode of darkness, they will go to Mudha Yamasi. They will go to the animal.
What was the last thing you're saying?
In 15 number, those who are in darkness, they will become animal.
Yes.
And those who are in 18th verse, it is said that those who are in darkness, they will go to lower planetary system. So is it that they go directly to animal, or they go first to this? Because the lower planetary systems are also they are also highly advanced.
Yeah, advanced, but that advancement is ignorance only, right? Those demons who are staying there in the Bilva Sarga, they're also having kind of Swarga, but there's no sunlight there. And they're always afraid of the Sudarshan Chakra coming and cutting them off, their life. So you can see both the combination, you can see those who are in the lower modes, they can attend to the animal species. Like in this world also, in our house also, when you open up the drainages, there are a lot of cockroaches coming out, right? So what is that life? In the darkness only, and it is mode of ignorance only. So you can have that here on this planet also, and you can go down in the lower planetary systems and various species also. So both ways you can understand. Yes. Lower planets and lower species, animal species. Yes. Because animal species, plant species means there's no freedom, right? It's completely bound. There's no freedom at all. But human being is the only one who can understand, even if a human being is in mode of ignorance, by association he can transcend. We just spoke this story of Mrugari, right? So, but this is ignorance means lower species, animal species, tree species, and also the lower planetary system. Both ways we can understand. Okay, Prabhuji? Yes, Prerna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for wonderful explanation. Prabhuji, repeatedly again and again from second chapter, Krishna is again and again explaining the qualities of Sthita Prajna, qualities of the devotee, and the same qualities are repeatedly again and again explained. So, is there any specific reason that in second chapter it was described in another context, in the 14th chapter it is described in another context, in Bhaktastakam in 12th chapter it is described in another context? I am not able to understand why again and again repeatedly these qualities are being described.
Okay.
Is there any specific reason?
Yes, just like a mother or a father, they repeatedly tell the child, don't do this or do this, do this, do this way. Why they have to tell repeatedly? Harer Naam, Harer Naam, Harer Naam. Eva kevalam, kalo nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva. Why this is a repetition? Repetition, Prabhupada explains in one purport in second chapter. Repetition is required so that we understand it correctly. We don't miss the point when there is a repetition. Oh, don't cross the road. See here and there vehicles. Don't cross the road. Mother will tell twice, thrice to the same thing to the son, right? Because that has to be emphasized. So same thing you can understand that we have to acquire these qualities. These are the qualities of a pure devotees. These are the qualities which are very, very dear to Krishna. Can we attract Krishna by our money, by our beauty, by our physical strength, by any of these, by our renunciation, so-called renunciation, right? We cannot. The only thing we can attract Krishna is by performing bhakti, by lovingly serving him and his devotees, by which we will develop all these qualities and we will become attractive in the eyes of Krishna. We will become attractive to Krishna. So Krishna will be attractive. Although Krishna is all attractive, why Krishna? There are 25 qualities of Srimati Radharani mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, and there are 64 qualities mentioned of Lord Sri Krishna. But among those 25 qualities of Srimati Radharani, one quality is to attract Krishna. Who's having so many qualities, right? So Srimati Radharani is devotional service personified. She is the highest devotee. There's no better devotee than among all the people, transcendentalists, devotees are the best. Among the devotees who have developed Krishna Prema, pure devotees, they are the best. Among such devotees, gopis are the best. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the best. So we have to follow that example and become like that. So therefore, Krishna is telling them again and again and again in different contexts like that. That is my understanding.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. And the second question is, Prabhuji, how much to emphasize upon whatever action I'm doing? Oh, this action is in the mode of action is in mode of passion. This action is, of course, we don't as a practicing sadhaka, we don't do that actions which are not and that those actions which are prohibited. But every time while working, while at home, it's not possible. Oh, this is action is in the mode of passion. This is in the I mean, that analysis is very horrifying. And then some senior devotee comes and say, "Hey, what are you doing? We are here striving hard to come to the mode of goodness. What rubbish you are doing?" And like it becomes very difficult. Every time you have to analyze how much that analysis should be. I mean, how to balance it being a grihastha, being you. I think you understand that.
So it is difficult. It seems difficult at the beginning, just like somebody is trying to drive a car. Oh, somebody is used to driving a vehicle, but two-wheeler. Now he's driving a car. Oh, he has to look in the mirror. He has to look in the front. He has to look at the side. Then there's steering wheel. Then there's a brake. There is a clutch, and there is a accelerator. So everything handling, he becomes very mad. Sometimes while trying to brake, he may press the accelerator also. That is happening. But the same person, after some time, he's driving on the highway at 100 kilometers per hour and he's calling his wife also. Okay, kya sabji lana hai ghar mein bolo. And he's driving also. He's looking in the mirror. He's looking on the side. Everything he's doing. Why? Because now he's being trained. He's being educated in the art of driving. So similarly, initially, this looks like, already we are struggling. Circus is going on. There is a family, there is a work, there is a corporate life, work-life balance we are doing. And now bhakti has come in between. Oh, we have to do devotional activity also. Just like that fellow in the circus, he's revolving one ball, then he's having another ball, two balls, then it picks up third ball. So like that, our family life, our career, our children, then devotional activities, sadhana, swadhyay, bhakti, shastri. Oh, it's like so many balls going up. But this maybe seems like a struggle initially. But as we become slowly progress by the association, by following the instructions, by taking the guidance, by taking the training, then the same thing we can do very easily, 4-5 balls, right? So it requires some patience, utsahat, nishchayat, dhairyat, and then guidance and training also, education and training also.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Upasit Gaur Bhaktavrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare. Arun Prabhu, you are out somewhere initially today?
Actually, we are building our home, so I went at construction site and I forgot my phone at home only. So I
Okay.
called my mother to start the meeting.
So are you building a palatial house like Prabhupada is
No,
saying?
no.
No,
It must be like
you can build palatial house. There's no problem. I'm not saying you should not. Where are you situated?
in Gondia, near Nagpur, Maharashtra.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
you were in Pune in some time earlier, or?
Yeah, last year I was living in NBCC only.
Oh,
Yeah, in yoga. I was
okay.
working. I was teaching in Pune. Just in April only I shifted here because we had to build home.
So you were staying in RVC Yoga?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Thank you. No problem. Just uh, next time, maybe you can let me start, or what is that link can be shared, or you need some particular app to start this meeting?
Yes, Vital app is there, and
Okay.
yeah,
Fine.
some
So I think so
settings are
you
there.
only need to take care of this next time also. Anytime.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So no problem.
Myself and yes, this Yamuna Vilas Prabhuji can also do. He is also assigned that responsibility because earlier he was doing.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.